Hi guys, I'm Reveena and welcome to my kitchen. Today I want to show you how to make stuffed eggplant. This is simple, easy, delicious, and I'll show you how to prepare the eggplant first of all. So you have your eggplant, and I prefer Japanese eggplants. I find that they're less bitter and sweeter and just generally more delicious. So you take your eggplant, cut the top off, and cut it in half. Thusly. And you have your beautiful eggplant, and now what I'm going to do is take my knife and kind of run, half a centimeter to a centimeter from the border and just kind of go through the eggplant. So thusly. I do it in the air, but I'm not a magician. So you have it something like this. And now what you do is you take your knife and kind of run along underneath the eggplant, and you don't have to get it all out in one shot. You can definitely use your fingers. Like, see, I started and then just kind of take your fingers and take the middle out. Works really well. And that way you don't have to worry about cutting the bottom. Then it's really easy to go in and take your knife and kind of take a little bit more of the flesh out. Perfect. And onto the other side. And these go onto my baking sheet, where I just drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil. Now these can go into my preheated oven. It's at 400 degrees while I work on the filling for the eggplant. Now I'm taking the eggplant flesh and cutting it into cubes. I know you have some pieces which are like this and which aren't particularly nice, but it doesn't matter as long as it's all fairly small, because you just want it to cook at more or less the same time. As you saw, I used 3 large Japanese eggplants, but if you can only get smaller ones, don't worry about it. Just use a little bit less of the other ingredients, or you can always just do a couple more eggplants. And with that in mind, we're going to need 4 diced onions, I have 3 large chopped tomatoes, and then of course the flesh from the eggplant, which I just chopped up finely, more or less finely. And then I have, which I'm going to add at the end, half a cup of capers. And we're also going to need a tablespoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of dried basil, and just a couple things at the end to finish it off. I have a large saucepan over here, heating over medium heat, and I'm going to put in about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And to that I'm going to add the onions, and I'm going to let them soften slightly. So I just added my eggplant to the onion, along with my oregano and basil and a good pinch of salt. And now I'm going to cover this and let it cook until everything starts to soften again. My eggplant was in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and now it's just kind of, it just barely holds its shape when you pick it up, and that's exactly what you want. And this as well, my beautiful mix cooked for around 20 minutes. Once the onions and eggplant softened, I added my tomatoes, kept the lid on, and just stirred every 5 or so minutes. And you'll see once everything's kind of mushing together, it's ready. And give it a taste for a little bit more salt and pepper, keeping in mind that you're adding capers. If you don't like capers, you can add olives. If you don't like either, you can leave them out entirely. So I just stirred in my capers, and now we're going to fill the eggplant boats, I suppose you'd call them. The capers add this vinegary, refreshing note, which really brightens up the dish. And when they hit the hot eggplant, onion, and tomato mix, the smell just makes my mouth water. I love capers. If you are an eater of cheese, now is the time to sprinkle some Parmesan on top, or some mozzarella, or cheddar, or just, oh god, I miss cheese. I don't eat cheese because it hurts my stomach, but I love it. Feta would be absolutely incredible on this, because we're going to put it back into the oven for around 15 minutes, just to allow all the flavors to kind of meld together and for the bottom of the eggplant to finish cooking. So 15 minutes, again at 400 degrees, and then we're just going to do a few final garnishes and they're ready to eat. Woo! That's got some good weight to it. It's going to make it big and strong. I took the eggplant out of the oven and I went to my garden and picked some fresh basil and mint. But if you don't have those herbs, you can really just do whatever you want or not put any fresh herbs on at all. And I let this cool, because if you put your fresh herbs on while the eggplant is still really hot, the heat will wilt them and make them turn brown, which isn't very visually appealing. Now I have these really cool scissors, which are special herb scissors designed to make a perfect chiffonade, but you could just use regular scissors or a knife. And I'm going to use them to cut my herbs right on top of my eggplant. Ooh, I can't wait to dive in. It looks delicious. Mmm. Mmm. God, that is so good. This is perfect. It's beautifully cooked. It's like tangy and warming and fresh because of the herbs. It's just a beautiful mix. I really hope you give this a try. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you next Thursday because I'm really trying to put out a video every Thursday. So subscribe to let me know what you think. Bye! Thanks for watching.